we live?
I believe so. I
Can you
believe
hear
so. We're
us?
live. Let's
So
see.
we don't have a whole intro. We're not doing the whole cover banner stuff. We're just
Hey,
gonna go
sir.
straight to
We
this.
have go upgrade here. So, welcome, Anime Lily fans. We try a new website. If you see from the top corner of your side, you see the little restream side. So we're practicing our new website that we're trying out. So hopefully it looks good. Hopefully it sounds good. For anybody that's there, please let us know how we sound. Definitely check us out on Twitch and YouTube. We're live on both sides. If this fails, then please let us know in the comment section below. But LegendDVash here.
SamtheMangaMan. We're just experimenting on some new stuff, honestly. And like
Yeah,
since unfortunately, like we said, Ray can't join us, James can't join us, Abe and
none
Spicy.
of the
They
other
are
members
actually
of the team,
they are a
other
little
than to us two.
busy. And since it's just me and Vash, it's like, you know what? Why don't we just experiment some new tech that we wanted to try out for a while, but
Yeah,
we've been
for like
so busy
months.
with like all the stuff like that sort of thing. Like we never really had this kind of time until now. So
And Ray has highly recommended for us to try restream so we could stream on both on our channels of network platforms, which is Twitch and YouTube. So we're trying this out. We're gonna see if you guys like it, where you guys could see on both sides, and we could see on the chat better, and we could put the topic of how we are gonna be live from now on. So, like for example, where we want to show that. For example, you can see all the links are down below to find us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stuff like that. And don't forget to follow us on social media, like for example, like this. So, for example, when we start talking about My Hero Academia chapter 341, JJK chapter 172, and then the chapter 95, or three cover stories that we'll be doing today. We might do more, depends on how we feel, and the conversation will be going. And additionally, don't forget, if you're new to the channel, if you like what you see, like I was joking about it before, but when a serious note, like, comment, and subscribe, is I appreciate it. And if you listen to on all podcast platforms, big shout out to our podcast editor, Abe Prince Allah, the son of Dark Side, because it's all thanks to him to you guys could listen to your commute on the podcast feed. And we appreciate that. Don't forget to put a like, a rating, all those things that Glenn appreciate and help support us and the brand and the channel itself. But
also, like,
hopefully,
yeah, with Restream, we're also able to stream on Twitch as well. Something that we actually been wanting to do new content from that direction in a while. But I guess we could do with this new Restream, with this our new way of doing like reviews and discussions and all that stuff with the entire party. We can literally have like both videos of Shonen Ronin and Animatedly podcasts on like both on like all of our social platforms. We might do it for Facebook side as well, which I don't mind. That actually sounds pretty cool to have all like three big media side where we can go live and talk and people could just join in and we can just see the entire chat all at once instead of going back and forth to different tabs and stuff like that.
correct. So we're still experimenting. We're gonna try to use Restream for both the Shonen Ronin show and for the animated podcast. Would be easier for topics and stuff for you guys to know what we're talking about. For instance, in case you jump in and you don't know what we're talking about, it's much easier for us to let you guys know and everything else. So this is experimenting. We hope it works out. And the Restream platforms, I mean the tiers are expensive, so we're trying to see if it works out well. We'll pay for it because money doesn't grow on trees. But without further
For
ado,
sure.
this is the Shonen Ronin show, and a lot of updates will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. But let's get straight to the show. Sam, did we agree what we doing first? My Hero, JJK, or
I
Undead
think
Unluck?
we should do Undead Unluck first because, like, since we started Undead Unluck last week, recently, where we did a whole overall and the whole chapter 94 review and discussion, I think it's appropriate to like go straight into Undead Unluck with
All
chapter
right, so
95.
chapter
And
95 of Undead Unluck starts now. Sam, we want to hit it on first.
yeah, like, okay, so much has happened within this entire chapter. From going back from 94 real quick, Fuga just got stabbed by some mysterious dude that literally came from the shadow, especially from Andy's shadow, and his
And
name is
what
Unruined.
for one notice is only Andy's shadow he's going to. He's not going to anybody else's shadow. So I wonder if he has a connection with Andy, or is it just that he chooses to
Now that you mentioned that, since Unruined is also kind of a whole undead person himself, and Andy's the undead person, is he like the sort of opposite version of Andy, where like no matter where he goes, he could be right there behind him, kind of sort of thing. And if one
Could be.
person isn't happy, like nah, bro, I'm not like you. I don't want you to be happy. I want you to suffer. Like I like want you to suffer while I'm happy watching you suffer, kind of thing.
So my guess is because this is the first time Andy has appeared in this cycle, or taking the new cycle now, but in the current cycle they were before. This is the first time Andy has appeared. So before all that, it was Victor. But from what we know and from what we could tell, Unruin has never appeared before, and now he does when Andy is the one that's technically using the host body of Victor. So maybe Unruin has been there the whole time, but he never took his chance to come out. So maybe
Well,
perhaps.
well, Victor is that split personality that's in the cart within that placement that's in between, so that Victor doesn't take over
Yeah.
Andy in that sort of way. But like, but Andy is like Victor is still Andy, the same body, just from a different time frame of his existence in a different loop in existence in that sort of way. Unruined seems to be the guy where loved by God, the whole I am also undead, I am also unkillable, and we seen Alibo like trying to slash his head off, cut him up, still being reattached and go like literally go through Andy's shadow, like it's like a whole um there's a lot of examples for this. I can even say like the My Hero Academia's shadow dude, where like teleports
Oh
into
yeah,
his
that's
own
true.
shadow or other people's shadow and make dimensions and that sort of stuff. But this dude is also unkillable. He also has some indestructible weapons in a sort of way where his hand becomes a whole entire blade, cut through
That is
Fugo's.
true. Like
Uh,
he has very similar, because Unruin reminds me of like, it's kind of like the body decay. It's kind of like the muscle decay, decay over time, like ruin. So I feel like it's weird, and also
well,
weird
it's
placement with
unruined,
the.
right? And
Yes,
his passion is just so weird too, where it says like, "I can never be ruined because I am unruined."
and
In
it's
his
weird because
words,
he has the. He even told Andy that you're too happy, and like he wanted to ruin his happiness. Like that was his.
it's literally those people like, yo, I don't like this couple because they're too happy with each other, and I'm by myself. Like you just want to mess that shit up, kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's just weird with his type of motivation. So I just wonder what is that's driving him to cause this, and then finding out that later on that Joyce chose to talk to the moon and cause her points and transfer to Fuku. So, but then Joyce is still there in the next cycle, from what I could tell.
I mean, it's also like his what is exactly his dream as well. He says like none of you negators unloved by God will be able to ruin my dreams. I feel like
That too.
he's just very psycho. Is what I feel like. He's like all the stuff, all the shows that we've seen. Like, oh, you guys hate God. You guys want to kill God. And for me, like, I mean, I just love to kill. And if you guys hate God, I guess I love God, kind of thing. And like, even though like God keeps destroying the entire world and fucking up people's lives and shit like that, and it's like, you know what? My dream is the same as God's dreams. I want to repeat these cycles. I want this never-ending ruin of destruction, kind of thing. And that's the one thing that's never gonna be ruined or unruined is my own dreams, kind of thing.
My guess, my guess is that, like, again, my theory from what I said last week is that Unruined has some type of connection with Andy or Victor more, because the way Unruined looks like is similar to how our boy Victor looks like. Long hair, the way his eyebrows are joined at the end,
The
the
scars
smile.
are different though. The
Yeah, the
scars are the
scars are
same.
different, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like there's a connection between Andy. Sorry, not Andy, Unruined and Victor. I feel like there's a connection between them two.
I mean, it's
That's
with
my theory.
Andy too. Like they're all Andy
The
and
same
Victor are the
person,
same
yeah.
person. Yeah, just connected differently somehow. Um, and yeah, we don't get too much about Unruined,
Because he
but
literally left. He said, "All right, guys, I'm out of here," and it just dips because he said, "So long, I'm gone since
because
I."
that's usually how villains is. All right, I did my job. She's gonna die. We're gonna repeat the cycle again. See you guys in the next cycle. Deuces. And then the whole like, okay, wait, she's losing too much blood. We have the same blood, and I'm undead. Take my blood instead. I'm wondering if
True.
does that make Fuko a little bit more of the undead side powers as well with it, or no? That doesn't work that way.
Well, I don't think they had the chance to do it because because I don't think this I don't think Andy had the chance to give him her blood because they tried to save her by using the quest reward.
Oh
And I
no
was
no no no! I see what's happened now. Okay, so the moment they said that she's losing too much blood and she needs some blood transfer, Andy cut off his own hand so that the vein and blood and can circulation and put it towards where Fuku got stabbed.
yeah,
That way,
yes,
the blood can still be flowing through, could still keep pumping. And he asked the zombie man skeleton dude to reconnect it that way, and
boy Nico.
it's crazy sick. Like it's pretty. It looks pretty disgusting, but it looks pretty sick. Like how you keep patients alive. You're just so luckily that we have the same blood type, where your whole body will never turn against that blood,
Yeah,
and now like you can prolong slightly a little bit more of unlimited blood because undead is just gonna keep regrowing as much as you want and that sort of thing, which is cool. And then we learned that the quest reward can help slow down time, or so
yep.
we think. Or
Or skip time for them.
no, not skip time. Skip time was something completely was someone else that the captain gave up for. But then the quest reward, she says like when the rules takes effect, the rules of death would change. I'm not entirely sure what exactly that means though.
Same. But then she
Um,
said that at this rate, uh, our girl Fuku will meet the condition and die. So, but if she makes it to when the new rule is added to the world, there will still be hope for her. So she survived, but because they made Andy and Fuku skip a week. They went from Christmas to New Year's. That's what is my understanding.
so yeah, the time skip was because the captain made a deal with the moon, and the moon called Luna,
Which
and
makes sense because for
which she
Spanish.
reveals that it was the deal between her and the moon. The captain's able to relive the new cycles with all her memories and everything, even though it's different bodies, different person, different people. She still retains her memories. Now is gonna be the completely last loop for her if they don't manage to kill God within this loop cycle.
Yeah, because
It's,
she said that I'll transfer all my points over to these two in exchange and send them back. Send them both a week ahead to the day of the quest results. So they were all confused of what's going on, and then the just seeing God there, like, or I assume that's God saying, "Good luck. Who are you?" And may the grace of the moon be
that's
upon
not
thee
God.
both.
That's the moon. That's Luna. The
Okay,
moon
it's Luna.
itself. Yeah, because that can't just be Luna is not God herself. It doesn't make sense, especially when there's like the whole alien force and universe that was trying to invade them and stuff like that and that sort of shit.
Yeah, it kind
Um,
of makes me wonder if there's some type of sun type of version now, or other planets type of version of of the moon type of body.
like I don't remember how the point system was working for for Jules with Luna and the whole cycle and stuff. But she said like I'll transfer all of my points over to these two in exchange to send them both a week ahead.
Well, we're about to find out by probably next chapter to know what did she truly meant.
But, like the deal, every deals you make is like a hefty price and that sort of stuff. And Andy was able to hear it and somehow like travel to the moon or astral projecting towards the moon, literally accepting the deal. However, Luna does look familiar though, with the hair and the seat
Oh,
and
you think
everything.
so?
She looks familiar though. Um, in the moment says, "May the grace of the moon be upon thee both." It's interesting. There's a lot of unknown mysteries within outside of their own world in the universe. Even though a lot of negators live into their is in their world, what about the universe? And they did kind of explain the universe a little bit, where there are other lives life out there in the universe. We don't know if there's other negators of aliens out in the world too. Like there can literally be a whole Superman in this universe that has an ability, like I don't know, on Superman,
It
on
is
normal,
pretty. It's pretty interesting because it also reminds me of how.
on invincible,
Wow, if there's an uninvincible, I'll be like, damn,
on
he better
on
get them
on
hands.
on Animan.
Yo, who will win? Animon versus Andy? That'd be a good question.
Omni Man, yeah, Omni Man, yeah. His
Andy
father
should
was
win. Andy should win against Omnimon. Now that I think about
Omni
it,
Man. No, like,
Andy should win.
man is worse, even more indestructible as old age. And
I
Andy's
know,
not
but I'm
this.
saying,
He's not a like um.
yeah, but Andy cannot get killed, so it'll be a
Neither
hard
can
battle.
Omni.
So it'll be a hard battle to see who wins.
Um, but yeah, so at least they prepare. Like, all right, they're gonna travel to a week into the future. At least what we can do is have like a hospital bed, have some extra blood, have like a whole
What's up, Abe?
pacemaker kind of thing, the heart stop thing. Um, but yeah, this is actually full on pretty cool. And you actually see Jew is like, yo, okay, the cryo equipment's ready, artificial organs ready. I guess what they did is like travel back a week afterwards,
No, no,
give them time to prepare.
they went a week
Equipment's ready.
ahead. They
Yeah.
went so Andy and Fuku went a week ahead, but the rest of them stayed. So they will probably get all the things ready so when they arrive and have all the things to do to save Fuku's life. Is what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Abe says we will find out how durable this under ability as if Andy fights Omni Man. That's very true.
That's very true. And like we don't know if Anik will switch into Victor's side. Like, all right, what can Victor do to Omni Man?
Yo, I'm telling you, Victor will kick the ass of Omni Man. I bet you that. Like Victor, he'll be like, I don't got time for this bullshit. Like he will
Neither
use his
does
gun.
Omni Man. He'd be like, yo, I am so annoyed of this bullshit. They both
I'm
have the same
sorry.
kind of attitude.
I'm on the side of Victor and Andy winning. I'll probably do a post later of who will win versus who, but I give it to Andy slash Victor against Omni Man. I I gotta give it to him.
Watch, we're gonna have a. Isn't this entire manga about how Andy trying to die? He wanted to die.
He definitely would need Victor to face Omni Man because Victor's about that life. Yes, he is.
He
Agree.
is
See,
about
that's
that
what I'm
life.
saying. But then at the last panel, we hear him saying addition of
Uma
Uma
Ghost.
Ghost. So we're gonna get Uma Ghost. I'm curious to see the design. I'm curious to see how the design's gonna look.
So remember, Umas are like these spirits or like
Yeah.
these like supernatural kind
Yep.
of humanoid like monsters almost kind of thing. Like with spring, autumn, winter,
Ooh.
book and that sort of thing.
Can we
But I
get
think
Uma Ghost like a Grim Reaper type of look? Get out
I'm
of the
gonna think
bro.
it's a whole entire spirit thing,
I know,
right?
but the look like a Grim Reaper type of look would look pretty interesting.
Uh you mean like something that's gonna literally have a reaper to not take Fuko's life kind of thing? Or
Well, I don't know about power or power scale or type abilities. Damn, all I said about look wise.
we just
What
know it's a reward. We don't know what exactly Uma Ghost exactly does. The only thing
yeah,
we've
it's gonna
seen
do.
from it is that book is literally pulling out a soul like thing out of his own entire mouth. Um, we don't necessarily know if that Uma Ghost in
It's
itself is
gonna
gonna
go inside
save.
Fuku.
I
You
could see
think that?
that. So I read people said like, so the exchange of what Jules just did to loop the next life, the next universe, is gonna be either to go to Fuko and Andy, but Andy already can already loop into the next life already with all his memories and everything like that. But it's gonna go to Fuko then.
But then
However,
remember, this is the first time Andy has done a new cycle as Andy before it was just Victor all these
yeah,
times. So this is
yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah,
time Andy actually has known that he's going to a new cycle.
yeah. So I'm feeling like this Uma Ghost will be going inside Fuko, and then it's what keeping her alive at the moment. However,
Huh.
I don't know about her unluck abilities will affect that Uma Ghost in itself, though.
How would it affect, and also how would it react for Fuko because she's also taking blood from Andy himself. So that'll be also pretty interesting.
I mean, like, remember they pushed them a week ahead, and they already had some equipment as well as like a whole fake organ heart already ready for her to do the whole entire transplant and surgery. It seems like, all right, the reason why we did the reward, stop time for a bit so that it could restart. Everybody's like at least full heal kind of thing,
Yeah.
or at least prevent death, like slow down time, or at least prevent death until after the rewards are finished. I guess what they're gonna do is, all right, while this motion stop where time is still going, but death is not happening, doing the surgery during that time frame before they like accept the rewards, take the rewards, kind of thing. Because they need time. They are. It's really hard to bring back a person when they are really in a huge brink of death, and especially being stabbed in the heart.
Like stab literally between the lungs, ribs, and heart right there. Like that's one of the most.
No, I think it is straight through the heart. Remember, like Andy had
I
to give his blood through the heart in order for it to keep pumping and keep
Yeah,
flowing
but
through.
I saw her get stabbed here, like straight up in the middle, not in the
It
heart. Like
wasn't. It was hard. If you look at
oh,
94, it's straight towards the left side of her chest.
okay, looking at 94. Going to see the sad image one more time.
It wasn't straight middle. It was literally more towards the left.
Yeah, I see it more towards the left, but it was middle, but
Left.
there.
The left is where your heart is.
For a woman, yes, it's more there. Yeah, but
I
damn,
mean,
that's so
for a
sad.
guy too, bro. Like in the human body, the heart's on the left side.
And that is sad. Seeing chapter
Even,
94 is still sad as fuck.
but yeah, like they're able to prolong the inevitable. I definitely see Fuka still living. Fuko's still living, but she's unconscious still. She's gonna be in a coma for a while, and then we have the whole Andy arc.
I hope we get this Andy arc because I've already been wanting this for a long time. Like this Andy arc, like his time to be who he is or be who he's meant to be. That's my time that I really want some stuff about Andy himself.
I mean, with Andy arc, at least we know he's gonna be going after Unruined. We
I
have like
wonder.
we have another big bat. We have another like boss level big bad kind of thing over his head.
I wonder how is he gonna make it happen. I wonder how. Hmm. It'd be pretty interesting to see how's he gonna find Unruined. How's he gonna act about this and saving our girl Fuku. It's gonna be pretty interesting. What's the next or current events in this new cycle? And because he also said in the chapter that Andy owes Billy one. I think he told
No,
Billy
but
that.
Billy owes both her and him and Fuko. Remember to change his mind,
Oh
give
yeah,
him the whole
so yeah,
hope
you're right.
of
You're right because Andy
like
said, Billy said, I'm sorry. Andy said, I owe you one, and then Billy said,
I'm returning the
just
favor.
just return the favor. So now they're technically even. So now they're all good then.
Depending how you want to see even, but
That's true.
they're able to survive into the next test. Remember, they're on the time clock before Armageddon. Remember, if there's too many failed missions, the book says Armageddon happened. Ragnarok happens.
Yeah, Wagner. I was about to say it's not
Yeah,
Armageddon.
it's Ragnarok. Sorry,
Yeah,
and like
that'd be pretty interesting.
even if after this mission ends, new mission begin, and it's either Andy is gonna be hunting out Unruin while doing this mission, or which actually makes the most sense because I don't think Andy would go out by himself just to like sidetrack where if I don't do these missions, Fuko and everybody in the entire world dies in a loop. And because their time frame limit are ass cheeks.
Oh hell yeah, yeah, definitely for sure.
So like they don't have a choice where you're like, all right, what's the mission? Who am I? What do I have to do? What am I going after? If the mission is like kill Unruin, like, nope, yo, say no more. I'm on it. Somehow like make it unkillable, killable.
It just be pretty interesting to see how this Unruined is gonna look and act about. So it's gonna be pretty interesante. Well, I don't know why I said that in Spanish. It's gonna be pretty interesting to how the next cycle for them is gonna react and what is it gonna be about almost ghosts and who the hell this sweet person is drinking tea in space on the moon Luna is and how important because everyone's like, who's Joey's talking to? And then shit just happened. So like it's pretty interesting because
Um,
it seems like the only person that knew about the moon is like Rip and Billy because they said no way.
I mean, I need to look back to the previous chapters with Jules just to see if I missed anything from the flashback that they had that she was in from the previous loop and all the other stuff like that.
Good point.
Um, but remember, last time we actually seen Jules and the Moon together. From what I remember was the alien invasion thing that was going to happen, and then it was the first time she debuts on Justice.
Ah, yes.
Unjustice destroying the entire like aliens for some reason somehow.
Man, I love that panel. It was so good. It was so beautiful.
What if it was Luna that technically helped her kind of thing, or it's just,
Ooh.
or really it's just the Unjustice powers that she's used.
That is pretty interesting. That is pretty interesting. It could be a turn of events. It is pretty interesting where it could lead up to. So, other than that, I'm good on the unlock. How about you, Sammy?
I am good. Yeah, this has actually been a really good chapter, very interesting, and still a whole lot of potential to come of this entire series. And last week's chapter was a whole 2 year anniversary. Let's do like I don't know 5 more, 5 more
All right,
years to see.
so want to do my hero JJK?
Let's do JJK because you said that you were having some questions about it and you weren't too sure completely.
All
I'm
right.
fine with helping you try to help you with the understanding of it. For my hero, we could do that last, mainly because it's on break next week.
That is true.
And like if anybody else wants to come in to talk about My Hero Academia, they could technically can't come in a little later. We could just start talking. But JJK has a lot of stuff that like it's just so very interesting and more um, theory wise and like questions that you would ask. Even Gege in his own entire comic in a shonen thing, he says like, "So guys, I'm pretty sure you had questions like." How is there buoyancy and there's some movement within the water yet there's still air? It was like you make a good point. How is that possible? Like it's like if there's no buoyancy or resistance, then why do air bubbles occur? I mean, the air bubbles occur from your own oxygen. You're exhaling. You're well, not oxygen, but the carbon dioxide you are letting out. All the oxygen from your body is releasing from your body, going into the water. However, you're not like you're still sinking. You're still falling. You're still kind of drowning, in fact. But you can't come back up unless there's like a whole equal force of float of water that can help push you up. The whole car thing with Reggie thing to help him come back up was weird. I'm not too sure completely on that.
Yeah, the logic in that or the science in that got me a bit questionable, but I think that's what he left for the panel of the first page in chapter 172. It said that the average human being loses consciousness at 5 to 6 units of G-force. But then he spoke about it in the next panel as well, saying in order to prevent his blood from gathering in his lower limbs, in, in inducing a state of
Remember, he was
decreased blood
squatting.
flow.
Remember,
Yeah.
in the
So
position he was squatting in a way where he doesn't have to. He can keep going more. You know, when you squat position, you are flexing your legs and your
yeah.
thighs and everything. That's at your strongest point instead of just standing up straight and having all more of your entire body of weight putting onto your stress of your legs. Reggie had it the worst because he has to literally have over his head with that elephant.
But then but then that
Which is Megumi, he's like he's carrying all this entire weight already within his domain expansion, but he's in a squat position where he's in a better spot where no broken bones, less injuries can happen, less stress can happen at least. Sorry, you were
but
saying?
no, no. I was gonna add to that, but then it shows that of knowing how you balance it and knowing how you weigh yourself. That it shows in the next panel in that page two. Under that weight, Reggie starts right of the fibula and heel bone fracture. So show that no matter how well you're squatting, all that weight will still break your bones inside your body
Oh
because
yeah,
you
definitely.
you feel.
You have an overhead. It's an overhead thing. You know, like
And,
you know the
and it's an
flick and
elephant.
release. You know the flick and release movement. Nobody's supposed to hold on to this that long. You're supposed to like literally drop that shit right away. But you're not in a position where you can. This is a big entire area of movement. How you gonna like push it off? Nothing, no flick, no like wrist, no nothing, no control. You're stuck. He was dead stuck within his position.
but
Um,
it's just like the like Gedge's art. I love how it's not always perfect. I love how it's just kind of sketches with art. Like it just shows quick drawings, but quick battle, and also comedy with it. So I love how Gedge focuses on that. That it doesn't have to have the perfect art, but it has such a great lore and the writing with it.
I love his focus of like, all right, one on one, who can lift the hardest? All right, one
Right?
on one, who can be the better fighter? Okay, one on one, who's the skilled fighter? Kind of thing. It's like he knows how to match up like one to one, even if your opponent has a better advantage of you. The main character or the character itself can be smarter and literally like
Exactly.
I could do it this way, I could turn it that way, but your opponent can also think and turn from the other way as well. Because even Reggie was thinking like, all right, I should have saved my trucks. I could have done if I done it in the end, I would have won. He kept thinking I could have won this way, I could have won this way, could have won this way, but I can't take the risk. He kept saying like, if I do it this way, I'm gonna risk myself losing half my strategies and stuff, but you always keep your ace in the hole, like wherever, and that sort of thing.
Because I love how, to as what you're saying, I love how Gedge doesn't try to use power up or power friendships, but he uses more skill sets and smart to know how to overcome your opponent. Like it like said what happened to Yuji, even though he knew it wasn't his fault that he killed these people back in Shibuya, he is still for responsible, but he told the judge, and the judge knew what it was and what occurred. But it was more of not of who was stronger. It was about you be honest to yourself. Here, Megumi and what's this is
They're playing 3D chess.
Reggie.
Reggie, they're playing like
Exactly.
3D chess
Thank you,
and all
Sam.
of it all together. Yeah,
They were playing 3D chess of who will outshine one another and who will beat them just by skill set and smart. And I just love it because not to jump to the end, but just knowing at the end of the chapter, just saying of how I would read you say a sorcerer is nothing but con artist. When he is the one that was saying that to the other guy, but the other guy I was happy and everything. I
the
forgot what's his
comedian
face.
guy, the
Yes, the
comedian.
community guy. Thank you. So I love how Gedge brings back conversation and even brings back the dog in the comments talking about it in the previous page. Well, no, was it the previous? Yes, in page 14 to 15, where like them both are not giving up and knowing that they go from using sorcery skills to a physical fight. They both have a balance of what is going against them.
It's really cool, and also like the chances that both sides can take can turn the tides of this entire battle.
Yeah.
Um, what I thought was as a Reggie made a good point where like remember he says it's an incomplete domain expansion and we don't necessarily know if this is gonna continue even after he dies. And if he dies, I'll just die afterwards and there's no point. Like remember he said like what if like he dies and I'm trapped in the shadow life? That we don't necessarily know like what's an incomplete domain expansion kind of situation sort of thing. Like does that mean like if the user dies, are you trapped within this domain expansion of this certain area? Which is like Reggie Kim's like, if I'm gonna die anyway in the end, even after I win this fight, at least I want to die winning this fight. And just pull out his trump card. And he was trying to call contractual recreation. But man, dead ass, like if he took out the hand right away, couldn't support himself from the elephant, and that's how he drowned him. He literally risked the entire move of trying to say that words out loud so that he can actually save himself. Unfortunately, it did not work because
Well,
he sank into the shadow and he was drowning in the water of the shadows.
exactly. Like, he was breaking the idea of at page 12 was it no in page 13 he said that he fled into the shadow and then and ended the domain, but then he had me break the floor so I'll fall into the pool. So it's kind of like him trying to understand the incomplete domain expansion, but also understand that Megumi just playing him as a toy, knowing of what's going on around the whole scenario of them just fighting within the domain, but the Megumi is also playing around with with the surrounding type of area, knowing the pool, the house, the dog. Like he's using of what he can grab to win this fight. So I just love that very much.
Oh, okay, so that's how it worked. Okay, so first, Reggie was drowning.
Uh huh. Yep.
So yeah, it's like the whole entire water. He's falling. There's no buoyancy. There's no oxygen. There's no resistance at all to help push him up. But he claimed and said like, okay, so how I make these come out, I usually give them they disappear after giving them a command. He said I didn't want the cars to disappear, so I didn't give them a command. So the moment he gave one car a command to float up, push me up, that's how he was able to come back up and survive from Megumi's like trap, the water shadow trap, and that sort of thing. So that's what saved him. Uh,
That's from my understanding as well, because Reggie looked like he is starting to understand uh Awa Megumi's dark shadow technique.
Chimera Shark, yeah, Chimera Shadow Garden. Um, and then my man Reggie just says uses contractual recreation. That receipt had Ray Apollo's house, his outdoor house.
You've been wanting to use that joke, didn't you, the whole time?
No, I never expect to see this kind of thing in this whole entire time. Like, man, literally had those like in home where you have the big trucks where you could drive out and stuff like that. Like, that's literally a full on home. 132,
Yeah.
132 square meters, 2-floor wooden structure, and it
How
weighs
do
at
you
least 30
know?
tons.
How do you know just by looking at? Oh yeah, that was 30 tons. Has a 2 floor wood structure and everything. How do you know that also
He
it's
bought
130 square meter?
it. Remember, he got the receipt. He bought it. He at least knows all the instructions. You don't buy something unless you read the instructions onto it.
I don't do that, so I would definitely have failed that.
Bro, that's how you get scammed. That's how you're gonna get scammed. Like, I have a receipt. Yeah, did you read the receipt? No refunds, no transfer to the item that you've paid for.
Ooh, that's a good question. Which fight do you prefer, Yuji versus Tigaruma or Megumi versus Reggie?
It is a good.
Ah,
That's a good question. Jinashi. I'm sorry if
G.
I said your name wrong.
I'm gonna call him G.
Jinashi
Um,
Agni Tori. Um,
Megumi versus Reggie.
mhm,
Just by the way they're fighting, like I love the psychological aspect between Yuji versus Hiruma.
mhm.
But the fight between Megumi and Reggie, because one, I don't know if it's biased, but Megumi is a son of a boy that is like just loves to slaughter people. So, you know,
Toji.
yes, but I just want
Praise
to,
Toji.
yeah, praise Toji. We praise Toji in this church. A big shout out to our boy JD Legend, the Church of Toji. So father like son, and like they love to murder people out here, just love to slaughter them. So that's one. Two, I love the way Megumi improves while fighting. He understands his own curse and understands his own curse energy the way he fights. Like he knows how to improve it while fighting. So I love his character involving that. And two, the way this man is just doesn't give up, and he's fine with dying while this fight happens. He's fine with winning while this fight happens. So it's just a coin toss with how he's feeling in his mood. So as much as I think Sam or Abe said it last week, but like this, people used to compare it in the beginning of the series that this was like a version of Sasuke. I'm like, nah, this is a better version of Sasuke because this character has more depth into it, and I just prefer this fight overall between
Mhm.
UG. But both fights are entertaining within their own type of circumstances.
I wouldn't say improve. I would say adapt or
And
switch
that's I
up.
like better, yeah.
Switch ups. Like it's not a one and done strategy where I gotta fully commit into this final move like you would see in Naruto with Sasuke and that sort of thing. No, he knows other options where all right, I see this is happening. Let me switch it to this move real quick. Let me switch it up to this real quick in order for my survival and for me to win. Let's just change the stage. Let's just change the outcome where I have at least the better advantage, or at least we're in an even stage in advantage where we're gonna end up doing hand to hand combat as our last thing, or our best of our strength and abilities, or best of the knowledge and that sort of stuff. When it comes to Yuji and Higuruma, that was interesting and that was really good because we learned about Hiroguma, where his mental state, of where he's going through. And like we already know about Yuji, but to have like some random different new character to help Yuji understand that by law it's not really your fault. I don't really blame you. We are very similar and connected where I feel the same way you do, and I wish that more people were like you, because like if the world was more like you, a little bit more honest, a little bit more um they understand if they feel guilty or guilt and everything, and punish crime and punishment of equality, Higuruma would have had an easier job. But with all that stress, tension, and like 99% of the world, with 99% of Japan are all like all childs end up becoming guilty and imprisonment, false imprisonment and all that shit like that. There's a lot of depth and there's a lot of psychological,
Exactly.
mental stress within this. Compared to Reggie and Megumi's fight, we don't really need to know too much about Reggie. We just need to know what can he do, how strong is he, what is he capable of, and what fun curse technique ability does he have.
Yeah.
Against our boy Megumi, his abilities is simple enough where he controls shadows and shikigamis and literally like other weapons in that sort of state. However, Megumi is smart and he has so many cards in his he has so many weapons in his cards and his strategies in his arsenal. And this is just pieces of it where Megumi always have another card to counter his opponent, where he can at least have the better advantage to win. Like the same way in the stalemate of the weight industry, the where he knew how to release his Shadow Garden domain
Yes.
expansion technique in order for everybody to sink to the ground, Reggie to sink back into the ocean. I'm sorry, to the pool. You know, when I first
You
thought,
know,
like, I thought that was like a whole, what, this entire time we were going in Reggie's mind. You know how when you lack oxygen in your brain, you start seeing delusional, like, you start
you're
thinking you might
you're
win.
hallucinating.
Yeah, you losing enough oxygen in your head where you start hallucinating, where, like, all right, I'm gonna win this fight, I'm gonna do stuff like that. Same thing, like you remember with like Baki or like King, like within the King and the Shuri, that sort of stuff, like I thought like I have the advantage. I'm beating the hell out of this guy. I'm
Uh-huh.
already winning. Like, bro, that's enough. That's like, what are you talking about? Literally, he sees this real life image of him being suffocated, lost oxygen in his head, had no idea what was been going on, and this entire thought, that first second of thought that he had, was all of illusion. But he really like ends up getting unconscious and like he dies at that moment.
So, question. I don't know if this has been answered in the JJK lore or anything, but when a user uses their domain expansion, can they also know what's happening outside of their domain?
No,
Because how did Abe Megumi know there's a pool
because
downstairs?
remember he chose this location for in the first place. He chose the gymnasium in the first place.
Okay,
He,
okay.
he probably like since it's
I
the
probably
school
forgot about that. So,
since it's the school, and he extends this domain expansion up to his entire gymnasium. However, like if you take it off, all the trucks, the cars, the shadow elephant or whatever, you're breaking through concrete. You're breaking just one floor. It doesn't take that much weight. Oh, and they had like tons and tons of tons to break through the shit,
uh huh.
and they're sinking. And and underneath that room happens to be a pool. Even if like it makes sense though. Like there's always a gymnasium up top and then the pool is in the bottom, like underground, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
If anything, if it wasn't the pool and if the gymnasium was literally like the first floor before the sewers, it would have been gone down the sewers.
Huh. Okay. Okay.
Which I mean, I think Megumi had thought of this. This is a school. If there's a gymnasium underneath, there's a pool. If there's a pool, I can use that to my advantage. Where if Reggie goes into the water, his receipts gets wet. It's literally got washed. It got washed, dried up a little bit, washed, and like literally got pre-soaked. Literally, his entire like suit just got pre-soaked twice.
Damn, my boy actually went through it. Shit. And by
Um,
the way, I also cannot wait to see this in the anime. The hand-to-hand combat between this fight as well also gives a big edge over the fight between Yuji and Abegamura, because the combat between these two characters, Reggie and Megumi, combat is going like they use curse technique, curse energy, and combat. So I love the hand-to-hand combat has always been good between this, and we haven't seen hand to hand combat in a while. Like the most
mhm,
recent one was that I can remember. It was like it, it was back in Shibuya with Toto and them, and now that our boy Toto lost his arm and everything. Like I haven't felt like we got a good hand-to-hand combat in a while, and I felt like this fight between Reggie and Megumi has been such an entertaining one.
Oh yeah, so from my explanation, it was in page 13. Reggie figured out, all right, this is a gymnasium and there's a pool on the basement level. Megumi fled into the shadows and then ended the domain expansion just before the house, like, full weight goes on top. Usually when you're at the point, you don't have to full entire weight. You could still balance it out where you can just not like too much pressure, not too much weight, where you can still keep it, try to balance and whatnot. And it wasn't even a balance. He didn't need to.
Yeah.
He just took off the domain expansion, used the weight of that house of 30 tons to break through the concrete from the gymnasium floor to the basement, and then boosh, dunked him in.
And yes, Alvis, you are here. I appreciate you guys for being here. And Undead Unluck, we already spoke about it in the first 20 minutes of the show. You can look back and scroll. You will have the Undead Unluck little caption or title card telling you when we're talking about it. And My Hero Academia is next. We might talk about any other series, Sakamoto Days or Boruto. It depends how we feel. But we're currently on Jujutsu Kaisen. And it makes sense for the house being breaking apart. And like that's why I said, BC Black Clover, we're talking about next week. If you didn't hear about the announcement over the past couple episodes shown on Ronin, Black Clover will be talking about in a bi-weekly or monthly type of fashion. We spoke about Black Clover last week. I read the chapter, not too much, so we're saving our conversation for next week. Since My Hero's on break, we're going to talk about it when Black Clover is not. So it's just perfect right
Also,
there.
it will be better this way, considering My Hero Academia will be on break next week.
Correct.
That way, it'll be better to have talking both back-to-back chapters of Black Clover within that one video and have that main focus, if that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I think that's a better way to go. And then the next following week, hopefully we'll have more people in, and then we get in Kaiju number 8 comes back. And we can talk about Kaiju number 8 again.
Yeah, we have no confirmation on when it's coming back for Kaiju because it says for
February. Beginning of February.
Oh,
yeah, I saw in
we have a
Shonen
date?
Jump, it says like 12 days. Now it should be like 11 days now.
Oh, awesome. All right, because it might be back on the first week of February then.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so we can talk that again.
So going back to Jujutsu Kaisen, so do you think this is next chapter is the last conclusion, or do you think
it's the last conclusion because
because he took off a whole ear and a piece of shoulder.
That's the reason. Like it wasn't even a one-on-one fight. He was expecting Megumi to summon out another of his dogs, the Shikigami and Wolf.
Yeah.
That he didn't realize that when he stabbed the dog from the teeth was still like from the mouth upward was still alive. Because remember Megumi's Shikigamis is if one of them dies, their powers goes into the other Shikigamis and they got added into it. So that makes the most sense. Even if that dog did die, the Shikigami dog died, there would have been more powers to the elephant, there would have been more powers to the frogs, there would have been more powers to all the other creatures.
Yeah, because the only one that recently died of his was the bird. Was the bird of his that died recently.
No, wait, who killed the bird?
Because
technically the bird didn't really die. It was still it was still able to move. Remember, he was still using it during a couple of chapters ago when they were still it was like a 1-on-3, 2-on-1.
Oh yeah, with the bump guy, the guy that was throwing the teeth or the eyeballs, which was still creepy. Yeah, him.
Yep.
That's gonna look so weird in the anime, just throwing eyeballs and teeth out there as bombs.
But plus, like you kind of want their bird. You want that high altitude and shocking abilities too. And we saw how much
shocking ability. Yeah.
And we've seen how well it could perform during that Shadow Garden when it came to that curse technique spirit that had Sukuna's finger. Remember, like there was like multiple of them, like that's zapping her and that shit. Yeah, that's gonna be a very utilize Shikigami for your arsenal entire weapon for Megumi for sure. But if they get too tired and if they're on the brink of death, which Megumi does not want them to die, he has to find a new Shikigami to take its place. Because remember, his maximum limit is 10.
Yeah. So I think this next chapter, 173, will be the last chapter with Reggie and Megumi.
No, he's done.
Yeah, he's done.
He's done.
Like he's done.
We can move on. We good.
For our next chapter, he'll probably be in the first 2 or 3 pages because like my boy took off a whole ear, some hair, and a whole piece of that shoulder with some probably probably some deltoids, some muscles right there. That's just
Think
all
about it
gone.
this way: you're not moving that arm again, and if you have anything that's left within any receipt that's not wet, that still might have its printed, but you don't remember. His condition is, I can't use curse technique if I were to use a contractual recession. He said this.
Yes,
He
that
says
is
like
true.
he waited instead of attacking, immediately attacking again. The domain exhausted him, so he replenished his curse technique. But uh, let me see.
He thought about this well planned.
He did a really real plan.
Like that's why I had to give her over this fight. Bomigumi over Yuji in the fight of them having it so far
Yeah,
in the first colony.
he can't fulfill the conditions of using curse technique to burn the contracts. Yeah, he couldn't fulfill the conditions, so he couldn't use his receipts anymore. My man's finished. He lost all his cards, and then it came to the point where like, yeah, Sorcerer is nothing but a con artist. The same line that he said to Megumi when they first met. Like, all right, 5 points to Megumi.
It's true.
The whole Harry Potter thing. 5 points to 5 points to Megumi. 10 points to
Ah,
Gryffindor.
no lie. Side tangent. I've been in the mood. I've been in the mood to actually rewatch the films. I don't know why.
I mean, like, they won't be this kind of quality good of Curse Sword. I'd rather have the whole entire Curse Sorcerer than the whole Magic fights.
Oh, if that's the case, I should rather read Mashal, which I need to catch up to Mashal because from what I hear that it might be ending soon, but who knows
Mhm.
from where it might lead to. But overall, good chapter of chapter 172. It looks like we come to the conclusion of this fight, Reggie and Megumi. Because what was the title of this chapter? Oh, we didn't even have a title of the chapter. Oh, never mind. Title 172 is Tokyo Number One, Colony Part 12. So
It's
I
just
think
going
we're
to be the
seeing.
same title, just different parts in the numbers.
Yeah, so I think this fight will end. I'm curious to know if Megumi and Yuji are gonna meet up. What's gonna happen? Reggie, is he gonna be killed and get those extra points, or what's gonna happen? Because remember the
Now,
girl still
remember,
nearby.
you have to be willing to give
Sorry.
up your points, but at least we know, like, no third party has to finish the job to kill either Reggie or Megumi or distraction, that sort of way. But I'd rather have it like this because Megumi, boy, needs to sleep, needs to rest because he's constantly been fighting. If he's trying to meet up with Yuji, boy has the endurance of a
Yo,
god.
yo, I just remember. Good thing there's not One Piece because remember how Luffy drank some milk and the boy got his teeth back.
Hmm.
So imagine Reggie got some milk and just got his whole, and then Bojack got his whole shoulder back and also his ear back just by drinking some milk. Like I know
Uh
it's not
huh.
bone, like tooth, but same aspect, milk.
Um. Okay.
No, like
Oh, the comedy wise, I know what you mean, but like, yeah.
yeah.
But I feel like when it comes to Gege, he does not joke. He
Oh,
does not
he
play.
don't. He loves to kill
And
people. I've noticed.
if you're gonna die, you're gonna die.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
If you know how to survive, you're gonna survive. If you're gonna live, you're gonna live.
So, question about death to Chat and Sam, two people listening. Do you think Nobara is actually dead because we still haven't seen her? Because a lot of people think that
She's
our boy
still
Gage is gonna bring
alive.
back.
She'll just come back later. I mean, like, this is like the whole great time skip, that sort of situation. Like, it's the same thing where, remember when everybody thought Yuji died, but he was just really
Yeah,
training with Gojo and like he was learning about curse techniques, and then he comes in during the tournament. Well, not tournament, but like the whole school rival fight, 5-on-5 thing, that sort of thing. I feel it's the same thing. It's just that in a bigger scale of competition, a more life and death game here inside of this culling game. Uh, but I don't think she's in the culling game just yet, though.
So Chad says G said Nobara might appear as a calling game player. So that's my
Yeah,
assumption
she
too.
just walks in into like, all right, I'm participating, and you're gonna literally see her name on the board as that
And I
last panel of a chapter, because she's just gonna
oh
straight up come out.
yeah.
She's gonna straight up come out and help either Yuji, Megumi, any other characters that's in a little bit desperate situation at the moment. You're gonna see her coming in.
And I'll be one of those people that would not care if she does live, and if she does die, I would like at least to have a
I
nice
find her
side
more
off.
interesting than Sakura. I find her more crazier and
Oh
more
hell yeah!
interesting than Sakura. So
Oh hell yeah!
she's
Like
living.
girl
She
actually
living.
does like girl actually don't mind killing, and like she actually has like knowing. I still will never forget the double spread of Black Flash with him, with her and with Yuji. Like those type of team ups, she's a great character. She has depth, and like knowing that she loves to look pretty, and now girl has a whole scar on her face and doesn't look pretty no more. I find that beautiful character development. Like girl just became ugly, which in a
it,
sad
it,
way.
it also gives her more potential to be able to see her old childhood friend again.
That too.
Remember like there were so many death flags I was raising, and then we went to the perspective of her childhood friend who became an office lady, and
Yeah,
she felt kind of humiliated. Like, man, if these kids saw me now, I wonder if they'd be disappointed in me. And then we just flash back into Nobura in the moment where she gets touched by Mahito. It's like,
yeah.
and then her own final words, like, bro, that's just all these death flags. This
I
is
like
gonna
damn
hurt.
Gadget, and then after we don't see her again for like almost past 40 or 60 chapters. Like yo, Gadget, like
It's like,
are you gonna be
is this really
back?
gonna be her final words? Like, this wasn't bad. It just wasn't a bad life. It's like,
But it
jeez.
just makes you question and have an idea of it. But overall, I'm good on JJK for chapter 172. How about you, Sam?
I'm good too. This, I'm ready to have the epic log of the fight in this portion of Megumi's perspective.
Same.
Now it's either we go back to Yuji or we go to another participant, or maybe we go back. Maybe we go to Yuta and what's going on from that perspective.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Gadget's gonna go because he went from Yuji to Megumi. And now I'm curious, are we gonna see the other team? Because we know Yuta and the other guy that has his own type of um.
Uh, Hakami Yuji or something. Hakami
Are you hyped
Hajime
for?
Hajime
Are you hyped for Kashimo
Kashima
Hajime?
Hajime.
Why did that name sound familiar? I'm just blanking
Right? I
out
was
right
like, shit, was that familiar? um,
now. I'm gonna do a quick search because that
I
name's
know.
just. Whew.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah,
hey,
yeah. Hajime is the girl. The girl. The guy dressed as a girl. Kind of remember that whole north south direction kind of thing. Yeah, that character.
yes. Oh, hell yeah, I'm curious because she's deadly. We just need to know more about her. It just depends if she's friend
Or
or
wait, no.
foe.
Oh no, wait. I think.
She's the one that has the two buns, Sam. She's the one that has the
The
two
past
buns.
sorcerer looking. No, the past sorcerer that's looking for Sukuna. That
Yes, her.
person.
Yeah, yeah, her.
Okay.
The girl has two buns here. So I'm hyped for her. Yes, I am. But curious to see how she's gonna be as a player.
I also want to see more of Hikari, the second
Hakari as
year
well.
top strongest.
But I have to agree with G. Um, Geji has put a lot of seeds in his calling games that we have not saying forgotten, but they have been on the sideline. Curious to see how are they going to enter the main story and bring disaster, bring despair to our characters because this past so like you said, she has 200 points too. I was just about to bring up she has a lot of points that girl has been saving up.
Remember
And
she used no. Remember she down to 100 points or something like that to make that rule where all right, I know we get to know the location of all the players within the game. She
yes, yes.
her rule created the whole name list of who's registered within the calling game.
Yeah, so she should have 100 points now then. And probably girl has been killing more, so she probably has 105, 120, who knows. So very curious to see how she's gonna interact once she also meets Sukuna because is she gonna be a loyal follower or she wants to kill Sukuna? Like what is it that she wants to do?
You know what I'm thinking right now?
What's up? What's
It's
up? What's
more
up?
like since all these past sorcerers, what if they're the one that's like teaming up together to fight these new younger sorcerers to see if they can match up to them, at least a better fight, give them everything. And all the sorcerers that she's been killing were just these newbies, and she's just taking easy points just so that she can regroup all the past sorcerers, including Sukuna.
That's my guess because like what is it that they want? Like are there old followers?
Have like a whole old school versus new school kind of situation, just to
And
test out
Yuji's
their fight.
and Yuji's in the middle of it because he's technically not legally part of it. It's technically his other half that's technically part of it.
I could definitely see her like, all right, since you have Sukuna set on, well, you have your own powers and curse technique, and I know I probably can't kill you because Sukuna's in you. I'm gonna beat the living shit out of you just so that Sukuna could just come out of your entire body and we can talk and that sort of thing.
Yeah, because we haven't.
Because these old curse techniques sorcerers, they are assholes. They are
Oh
all
yeah, definitely
straight
for sure.
assholes, and they just love to fight for
And
no
we haven't
fucking reason.
seen Sukuna in a while either. Like we haven't seen Sukuna do anything in that retrospect.
You know
And
how long it took from within the Shibuya arc, and how long until like we met Sukuna, like a very long time afterwards. I'm good. We
oh
don't need
yeah,
to see
no,
Sukuna
yeah, I
until like
agree. I
much,
don't
much,
miss him.
much, much
Agreed.
longer.
I don't miss him, which is not a bad thing or good thing. It's just that he's not needed in the current arc or like in the
He's
current
just
series.
a whole chaotic evil. The moment he comes out, you're like, all right, he's out. Who's living? Who's gonna survive throughout the whole this? We're gonna have a whole entire list in the party. Be like, all right, take your bets, take your bets. Who's the one
Ooh,
most likely gonna be living after this and shit? It's like,
you know what Gedge should do to play homage to Chainsaw Man? Show the same thing of what the Gun Devil did
oh,
by
the
killing all those
names and
people.
everything.
Have the names of who died in the calling games.
I could see that too. But then
That'd be pretty dope.
remember that the calling games are all in different sections and departments and that sort of thing too.
I agree. Me and Sancho said that yeah, Geju will bring Sukuna when we least expect it, and the
Hmm.
same thing with Gojo. Gojo's not out of the picture. I'm sure that Gojo will come back when we least expect it. Like especially
I
that.
could definitely see them both coming at the same time.
Oh shit! Fuck yeah, that's a possibility.
Old school brought back their Sukuna, new school brought back their Gojo. Let's do this. You have a
Shit.
whole you have more than like you have like 17 finger Sukuna versus full power Gojo. Let's do it. Let's best of
And
the
then Megumi,
superpowers.
fully learned his Dark Shadow power, which is both Gojo and Megumi going against
Because
Sukuna.
it's been long enough since we had a whole Gojo versus Sukuna fight
Yeah,
since
it's been
chapter
a
like
long time.
1 or 2. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's been a while. Let's have this rematch.
I would love to see that
I
rematch.
know you've been sitting in this room, and I know you want to get some stretching. You want to start moving your body more. So what better to start the fight with the big bad himself of Sukuna? Be like, all right,
I fuck with
let's
that
do this.
theory, Sam. I fuck with it. They have both of them come at the same time. That's a good. That's a good analytic right there. I
But
fuck with
like
that.
how I see it is that Sukuna is like literally causing all this havoc and most likely with killing the characters that we love, that we're enjoying of too, until the moment where one of them has either piece of the sword that can release the lock, or this remember that one old past sorcerer is the only one that can like negate and nullify the curse techniques of items. I feel like they're gonna have like some sort of weapon from that angel person, and using that weapon to help unlock like as a key to break out Gojo from his own cage. But at what cost? We had to bring back Gojo, but at what cost? That's because Gilead always have a consequences. Yeah, you want your big bad, but you know how much blood, how much character has to die just to bring him back in order for you at least to have a better chance and like better elevate the battlefield between both big bad superpowers in
Oh
this
yeah, for
entire
sure.
stadium. It's just insane.
It's just gonna be see what's to happen and what's gonna be next for that. So overall, this is our JJK conversation review slash theory such analytics of chapter 172. So hopefully you guys enjoy. So now let's jump into our current last series coverage, which will be My
My
Hero
Hero
Academia chapter
Academia.
341. Let me get the chapter front because I don't have it in front
So
of me.
chapter 341, the story of how we all became heroes, comma, part -1. I love this
Me
because
too.
because like it's a
Part minus
whole
one.
because like so previously it was like a whole another like class 1A storyline sideline, and now we're going to the villain side of their -1, -2, so on and so forth, which is the opposite, which makes the
Thinking of
most
how they
sense.
became villains themselves. So this is
Hmm.
pretty interesting. Um, I gotta say, the cover page of Toga, pretty dope. If you're a big fan of Toga, you love this chapter. So a big shout out to my friends Perm and everything, because I know we have some fans out there that are big fans of Toga. She's creepy, but she's bloody.
I
She's
mean,
like a vampire.
it's been long enough. We haven't had Toga since her fight with Uraka. Yeah,
290? 290? Around there?
around there maybe. Like,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
my
that's like
guess.
that's 50 chapters. Like shit.
Yeah. Damn, almost a year. Wow. Almost a year. Wow. Damn.
But we seen her. Like she's out there. It's just in visual. It's just that we hadn't. It took
Yeah.
a long time for this to happen.
So let's break it down. So we have here in chapter 2, 3, we have these graffiti of die demon
It's her
die,
house,
like
her own
your
home.
agree.
Um,
Vampire Demon's Lair, which no like got me laughing because it's a like
Demon Slayer. Yeah, Demon Slayer. Yeah, I get it.
we did our best, but nothing worked. The girls are demonic. I assume that's a parents or people around the neighborhood talking about girl Toga, so that's most likely it. And then there's a tic tac toe. There's I assume somebody won with the graffiti. The
What tic
XX in
tac
the
toe?
bottom.
On
Did you know see
page
in page
three?
three? Page three, yeah, tic tac toe right
No,
down the wall.
no, dude. That's you know how like when you're a small kid, your parents like, all right, look how tall you've grown. This is age two. Look how tall you've grown.
Oh
Age
no!
three.
If you look in page three, if you look in the back of the wall graffiti, where it says killer and then some type of ice cream, and then if you look on the right, there's
I
zero
think that's
X
supposed.
X.
Oh, that yeah, that's supposed to be Dookie. That's a
Oh,
Dookie.
you piece of shit!
Oh,
I did
Dookie.
not notice that. I did.
Yeah, they have a whole tic tac toe thing, but like still, it's still graffiti. But that next to it's a Dookie.
um Horikoshi is always better with villains, and art was so good. And said, yes, I agree with the art, and I agree with the villains. And it's sad that a lot of people in Japan didn't like the my villain academia arc, but like I understand that they want to show the more hero side. But I guess us in the U.S. and us around the world just love villains, so which is fine with
No,
me
we love
because
lore. We
yeah,
love
lower.
lore and history and past story and how well it could be written. And Horikoshi does a great job with writing characters of both heroes and villains.
And this
And
chapter was good with two things: Spinner and the Toga stuff, which was great because we
mhm.
always love stuff with Spinner, and we finally getting more stuff of the hemo. How do you spell? How do you pronounce that word?
What?
The Homo sapiens, heteromorphous. That's what I meant to say. Of
Um.
how Spinner and his people look
Oh,
like.
oh, 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 the type. Oh, heteromorphic. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I was trying to say that
Um.
word like what. But yeah, going back to Toga. So it just shows the art in the background. Great work he did in this. It was beautiful. And in page on 4 and 5 of her getting flashback to her nightmare or dreams, I assume, of her taking blood of a dancing red sparrow. I'm guessing that's supposed to be something symbolic, right?
It's more like you know how people like I want to be like this person. I want to be a hero. I want to like there's an idea where I don't want to just be my own hero. I want to be exactly like that person, that hero, or that person. And that's why the whole drinking of blood thing, wanting to be that person thing, the whole cloning thing. Um, if I were to say that, it's like the Twilight Zone episode where this obsessive fan for this woman, um, he was like a whole number one fan of hers, and like he was able to have this power where he has like a whole jinn or genie that will grant him any wish and stuff like that. And then he starts to, saying, like, I wish I could get close to her. I wish I could be her boyfriend. And then until he finds out, no, I don't want to be anybody part of you. I don't want to be just a sideline. I just want to be you and exactly you. And that obsessive fan becomes that famous star just like he wanted, and his obsessiveness and that sort of thing. That's what I get with when it comes to Toga. When she wanted to be her friend because she loved her smile and like she wanted that same dimples, wanted to be her. When it came to the bird, I wanted to fly away kind of thing. But like she never wanted to be herself. She just wanted to be the other person kind of thing.
But I feel like she wanted to be herself because I feel like that's why she came back to her house to kind of look back on who she was or who she could have been because like
No,
her.
there was no could have been. It was more like reliving what she was living, what she had to go through growing up. Because even her own parents, it's like you can't just live as you please all the time. Nobody can, and like, and then come to the point where she's biting herself. She's literally
Yeah,
like sleep biting herself, chewing her
sleep
own
biting her arm, or sorry, her wrist, like
wrist.
enjoying her blood and everything. And it's just every night I dream of a dancing red sorrow. It does a tap dance on my tummy, like she's just enjoying to dream of blood and like knowing of just killing. Like such a pleasant dream makes me so happy. Like girls just smiling and just saying it threw it all away and just smiles staring at the window and everything. So But then we get the
the, the, the,
unexpected.
the imagery of the splashing of when she describes like once the bird gets through into my stomach, it starts dancing even more to make it symbolic, like those red flowers that we always see in anime, where it's symbolizing like death
Oh yeah,
or like
like the
such
Proud
that stuff.
Neverland,
Promise Neverland, Totoro,
Attack on Titan.
86, anything that has these flowers, it's symbolizing death, blood, and death.
Yeah,
And
you're right. The same flowers. Yes, I remember in '86 and everything. Yes, there is some. Wow, I should know that.
yeah, like
The great
when these
symbolism there.
flowers appears and you literally using the imagery of your blood to make it look like the same as these flowers, this is pretty
Sleeping
twisted
cycle.
in the head. Yeah, pretty twisted in the head. Like,
But
and
then we get an unexpected person just accompany her, like, hey, just came to join you. Never knew you had a heart, but he came here to kind of express how that tomorrow is a new type of era. Like for them, like once the war starts, we can never look back of who our old life was, and
remember they
like he was
both
just
came. Remember they both joined at the same time with
yeah.
Shigaraki and his gang and that sort of stuff. So it's like the first relationship that they both each other had, kind of thing. Which makes me a little curious. Did they meet when Dabi, aka uh,
Twice.
no, I said Dabi.
What?
No, Dabi's real name. Starts with T. Sorry. Uh,
I'm blank.
fuck. But yeah, like remember like how like the whole fire accident when it came to the forest. What if she met? What if he met Toga throughout that time in the past story, and she saved him? And the whole reason why like she's able to continue living was because of Toya. Thank you. My brain was killing me.
Oh,
What if it was Toga that saved Toya during that time, and because she had the blood, she's probably able to do it and that sort of thing. She thought this was pretty of him burning or at least bleeding, that sort of stuff.
maybe could be. Two psychotic people working together and looking at what they could do. So that could be a chance, because he brought up in the first page like, um, even you can get caught up in emotion, huh? Like, you sure you're ready for what's coming? Like they spoke like they knew each other more than just being the League of Villains, and
because
like
they
both of them.
both were like the outcast of hero society. And what kind of hero society literally trash your own home, your parents' home, with graffiti, a dookie image of graffiti, and tic tac toe, and all that other shit that's been going around? Literally abandoned everything. The whole entire her parents or anything just literally left her, and
And I
people
feel
just
like they
graffiti, calling her a vampire, calling her a demon, calling her a monster, but never really truly understand her of the reason of why she is what she is. And like she's the outsider. She was the undesirable when it comes to hero society, and she's getting the backlash of all of it.
I feel like they both reconnected. Oh, sorry, not reconnect. I both reconnected in a similar way of how Toga, like you said, and how Toya both have lived an unpleasant life of by having parents that don't really care or love each other for that. Because I feel like in the panel in page 8 when he said, "Let's smile, Himiko Toga," like, and when he blazed fire to her house, I feel like that was his way of saying, "Let's let go of our past and let's
Her in the
just enjoy
past.
who we are." Like, let's just let go of what we were, and let's just enjoy of what society has made us become, and let's just let it all burn. That's what I feel like is that the type of symbolic of what he was just saying. Like, let's smile, Himeko Toya.
But like it's more within Toya's strategy, because he had to keep an eye on Toga because she's the new ace of the entire strategy for the League of Villains with the blood and abilities of Twice. And remember, it's not just even one capsule. She has like a whole arsenal of it. All her blood capsules in her front of her and stuff like that.
So Alvis said something as well. I was making a joke of like, what, like, what trouble kids decide to play tic tac toe here? But thank you. It's like, yes, like, as much as I could joke about, like, yeah, okay, I get it that y'all drew the shit. I get it, y'all drew the whole demonic, demon girl and everything. But y'all take the time to play a game of tic tac toe while y'all were also drawing these other graffiti. Like, you had the time to, hey, bro, let's just play some a quick game. Okay, here's an O, here's an X,
Remember, it's
X.
still graffiti. It's still trash in the house kind of situation. Like I said, the Hero Society has no sympathy or any kind of uh, hope or any way of trying to help cure the person. They just believe like they try to force everything onto the person and hoping that they can convert them to what they are now. Instead of like rehabilitation, we end up forcing them to try to make them change by punishing them. Instead, if they don't do what they want to do, punish them. If they don't, if they're not acting in the right of society, we punish them. And it just seems like what Hero Society is doing. Like whenever they try to do something, they're always punished. The outsiders and everything.
To the chat, Ava said, this is for me feels like one of the first scenes where Dabi is generally bonding with the league. I agree, because Dabi always felt like he was just joined, but like a side tangent. Like, he was just there just to be there. Like, he like the Batman. He was part of the league, but not really part of the league. Like, he was just doing his own missions to use them to accomplish his own missions. But now I feel like he's just having fun and wanted to connect with them in some way. So I feel like that I agree with as well. Feels like her family abandoned the house for a while now. Yes, because that house looks like so ruggedy, like so many type of graffiti being there, so torn down. Like, the house next door looks good, but that house of hers, the trees, the graffiti looks all run down. Looks like nobody's taking care of it for a while.
So,
And she becoming a blood lover for almost 2 years for almost 2 years
no,
now.
I think a little bit more longer because
Yeah, I
it
agree
was
more longer.
during like because like remember it happened when she started obsessing it during school when she, with the bird and she bit the bird and then when
Yeah,
it came to her classmate she bit the classmate to death or that's
yeah,
what
because
was written on the articles. We don't necessarily know assume where she wait she did admit that she killed him, right?
yeah, because remember back when they fought the Liberation Army, and the girl that knows all the information and research she did, she told
Yeah,
her like
that
when
was
she's
written in
done.
these articles and like
Correct.
but it wasn't really necessarily like entirely the truth, you know, they're just.
So from what we know, it's been more than 2 years that I think Toga has been out in the runs and out and about. So
Do
my
you know
guess is,
why? No, it's because her quirk awakening is this. Her quirk awakening like made it her obsession towards blood and that
oh yeah,
ability
definitely.
towards blood. Like usually people awaken
Yes.
their quirks when they're like at a young age, like at 4 or 5, but she just happened to awaken it when she's at the age of 10.
Um, A- Alva said that she's 17 now. I was in my head. I'm like, she's between 16 to 18, so I'm glad she's 17. So she's definitely has been on the runs for definitely less than 5 years, no more than that. Because I remember last time in a flashback, she was like a freshman in high school, or I think in Japan it's like a freshman in middle school.
Or
I
like
forgot.
somewhere within her middle school because she was wearing a
Yeah,
black uniform
yeah,
of
and if I'm correctly, that's like about a
middle
youth.
school
Yeah.
uniform kind of thing.
So she has definitely always had this type of obsession, like the bird when she was a little girl. Yes, and she was and I agree with that. But he was aloof with everything, but now he just wants to shit on Endeavor. But he wants to shit on Endeavor with them as part of the league, because she even brought it up that when you transform, if the person is someone close to your heart, you'll be able to use the quirk, and that's what Sam brought up about the awakening back when she turned to Ochako. Now we came to realize that Dabi took the original blood of somebody, and that's our boy Twice. That is
Which makes
Sad
sense.
Sandman
Remember,
Parade.
like he didn't really like. Remember, he faked the whole video. Oh no, you killed my best friend twice, even though he was a smiling face. But then he knew that Hawks had the recording and stuff like that. And what they did record was Dobby like confessing all these times, the crimes, what's going on, and that sort of thing too. Fake shit. I'm pretty sure like Dobby has a lot, at least a good amount of Twice's blood because the more she has, the more blood she drinks, the longer the ability lasts. And it feels like Dobby knows her quirk really well, knowing that when you transform, if the person's someone close to your heart, you'll be able to use their quirk by drinking their blood. and which makes sense of her love for Ochako and how she's able to use it, but also gives you an idea. Remember, she was trying to have this conversation with Uraka herself. It's like, so I killed a woman because, but I used your blood, I used your quirk ability. Don't you see how great it is? It means how much I love you. It's because that amount of blood was enough where I can actually use your quirk.
And
It says so much.
that's where in the chat, our boy Demigod brought it up. Quirk awakening is when a quirk that already exists evolves, at AKA when she becomes able to use other people's quirk, AKA Ochako. And with that, quirk manifesting is when a child gets it to begin with, usually by the age of 5.
Remember, she was holding back since like during a young age. She was holding back, and even in, if you look at she repeats the same thing where like her mom telling her like just restrain yourself for once, keep restraining yourself, keep holding back, keep holding back, keep holding back until like you're gonna explode.
And plus, Elvis, it depends because right now they're in spring in Japan, so it depends if she survives. Will she reach the age of 18, or will she be caught by the president, or will she get killed? But with Hori, he hasn't really killed a lot of villains on their side. Only twice as of now is the only villain that has died on their side. So it really depends on how the circumstances on these turn of events of this final arc will
So
start.
I wanted to ask you because this sometimes happens in like DC shows. I don't know about Marvel shows, but you know how villains who feel like they're not completely fully villains, and like at the last moment they decide not to go through with the entire plan and just like let the heroes stop their like minions or their like higher up enemies, the villains, that sort of stuff. This is the point of no return where you can't back down now. You can't step back and do something else. You can't quit. You have no choice but to do what you need to do of using Twice's blood to make the whole sad man parade.
Uh
Or
huh.
you can't turn back now because this is our greatest weapon. It's just literally saying like, I don't want to be a villain. I don't want more people to kill. I don't want people to die, sort of situation. That's what you see from like DC shows. But I feel like with Horikoshi, there's no turning back for any of these characters where they're gonna follow through of everything that's gonna happen. So there's gonna
The
be a
only
Sandman parade. There's gonna be the whole villains killing heroes and that sort of situation and
so
rivals
the
and stuff.
So the only person I see that would turn, or depends on how he's gonna react. Because if you look at page 12, 13, our boy says, "Yo, you good, bro?" Our boy Spinner, because he goes to Shiraki. What are the fuck is happening in that tunnel in that page? Because I literally have no words to describe that panel. Looking at mad creatures or hands, and then it gets back into Shiraki, comes back into his arm, and then they talk about like he's just recovering well from the quirk of Doomsday, and then they speak about uh, uh, what Spinner could do, but it looks like Spinner's having doubt or his belief on this, but he's only doing it for Shigaraki. But I feel like the more that Spinner will observe, or for one, and Spinner, sorry, of what Spinner will continue observing, of what All for One will continue doing, and do with Shigaraki, it's going to
I
be pretty
mean,
interesting.
Elvis was like literally hit the nail because that's the first thought I had too. Akira Wanker's cramp looking ass. That's from Akira, the movie, like the
Ah,
whole
yes.
mutation, the whole weird demon transformation look-alike thing. Is what it looks like. I think it's what's happening is he's retracting it. It's retracting
Oh
back.
shit,
It's
Sam.
retracting back to his arm, that sort of thing.
Yo, Sam, you know what to notice in the final double spread? You know
Uh,
who's that going guy?
isn't that the Mudman slime dude that All Might
Back
punched
from,
the hell in? Yeah,
yes, that's that.
I think if we look
Holy
closer
shit.
to some of these people too, it's some of them looks familiar as well.
Well, that's the only one that I could recognize.
It is interesting.
The one that's looking creepy is the one that has a short legs and with two long arms, looking creepy ass.
I
So
mean,
these are some weird designs that,
I
because I
mean, I
see a
see one
couple.
guy. I see a guy that has the our pro hero looking kind of mask with his own sword in that sort of situation, and now he looks like almost like Edge Shot, but without the suit kind of thing. And now I'm kind of
But
thinking
still
like,
like
hey,
all for one.
Can we have him fight Edge Shot and have like a whole samurai ninjas versus thing? Because that would be dope.
It's gonna not lie. I'm excited that Hori's gonna make heteromorphs people because it's gonna be interesting to look creepy designs that look like bees, slime, whatever the hell this guy with wood, or it just look like a downgraded version of our Bokumiya Woods, because that's what I feel like. The guy that looks like next to with the ugly arm, he looks like a downgraded version of him.
But Doomsday Theory quirk, what the hell is that? Is that literally Akira? So is the
Maybe.
Akira power movie limiting that? And that's Doomsday Theory? I mean, actually, no, that makes the most sense. That makes the most sense because in Akira, the movie literally is a whole entire Doomsday. That actually makes the most sense.
How come when baby brother went in the dark side?
Yo, I mean,
Uh,
he's also sick of this. He's been sick of this shit from the Hero Society since the beginning.
he be like, damn brother, you had to go fuck the big titty girl type of hero. Instead, you could have been out here with me back in the dark woods.
No, it's more like you were. We don't official you as a pro hero kind of situation. Like the Jedi, we don't crown you as a Jedi master. We don't crown you as a pro hero, and now you go to the dark side.
You cannot sit here with us in the council of Jedi's. Oh my god.
Oh my god, you
Uh,
cannot sit here with us as the pro heroes.
we go to hell. Whew.
Let's just hope Ed Shot has the high ground.
It does seem like his quirks in New Order working havoc, and he can control his body over regeneration. If you're talking about Shiraki, that's what I feel like is
Yeah,
happening.
the Doomsday Theory thing. Because in the Akira movie, he couldn't control it anymore, and literally all this mutation, all this weird like circus technology made him turn into like a whole giant muck monster, and it literally destroyed the entire, like literally destroyed Japan. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, what if that's like the failsafe plan where, in case that they're not winning, Doomsday Theory quirk just explode and go rampant and just destroy Japan in general.
I'm glad. I'm glad Chad likes my. I'm glad Chad likes my comment. Yeah, me too.
Wasn't
I will
wasn't
go. I
wasn't
would.
isn't Kami Wood the boyfriend?
Yeah, he
That's
is.
Kami Wood, right? Not Ed Shot.
No, no. I've been talking about Kami was the whole time
Okay,
that
okay.
he been dating Mountain Lady Thickness.
Mm.
So it works out very well. So, but it just makes it interesting. Like, I wonder what type of downgraded or other version of the heteromorphous people. Like, are we gonna see some type of ugly bears, ugly type of creatures, type of animals that don't look correctly well made because just because they were well with the quirks. Like it, like for example, the slime dude, he doesn't have a real body or some type of corrected body. So like it's gonna be interesting to see him back. And then with Deku, will Deku fight him just a little one punch quick, or curious to see how this other fights will be? Because you know what this panel reminds me of? Because I know Vocal Pineapple, other people of content creators of My Hero has made this video, but in My Hero, I think was in like in the opening of season 2 or part. Remember of about Deku saying of how he became the greatest hero, and
Mm.
then this whole background of all the villains. I feel like we have probably have seen type of such of a
But
shadow.
those were like writers slash villains, though. It's not like all of them are villains. It could be like within civilians in that sort of situation too.
Oh, that
Um,
is true. Our boy Shoji is gonna shine in this. Like we have a couple of classmates that don't look like has body parts of an
who
animal.
look
So
different animal look-alike
yeah,
faces, unrecognizable. That's not human appearance and shape. Which Spinner realized, like, yo, I'm not a messiah, and I don't. It's not like I want it to be a whole symbol of all these people who don't. look completely human, or he has these uh, different shapes and morph, like the whole porcupine cork ability guys, and then the other turn switch. However, because you've been on camera, because you are known that you're the League of Villains, and you have now the other heteromorphous uh, people who didn't want this in the first place, but now sees you as hey, yo, we don't like the Hero Society because they shun us. They shun how we look. Just because we don't look like them, they just tell us we are nothing. We are not suitable to be heroes because we don't have the look. We don't have the agenda or abilities to do that sort of thing. It literally does bring in the discrimination, just like what Alphys says. Um, but for Spinner, he's in the side of the radical side where like, yo, it's because of them, the hero societies, they shun us, they look down on us, they do everything horrible for us. We need to rise up above them that we are better than they are. And like same thing with Shoji. I think Shoji's gonna have to be the one where he fights Spinner, or at least he has to talk and convince the other heteromorphous uh, people as well. So it really could go any way for this actually. Um, like when Alpha One said a year ago in Tartarus Escape, this is a story of how I became the greatest demon king. Yeah. Mm,
Yeah, because I'm trying to see what other classmates that my hero
not many. Not many.
UA could do something about it.
At most, it's just like tape arms or Frappy.
Oh, yeah, from Froggy could be involved with this because Froggy is a not turtle frog. Thank you, frog.
Heteromorphous. Yeah, frog. Yes.
What do you think? What do you think about Mina? Because she looks like an alien.
That too, but then she has more of the human shape, human kind of look still, though. Like the whole two hands, two legs, and just antennas, and yeah, she's pink. Like she still looks more humanoid shape. If what I'm, it's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so
It's a weird discrimination of if you don't have the human body shape, you are not human kind of thing, or you're not classified as us and that sort of thing.
yeah, it's gonna be very interesting of how that's gonna occur with the characters of My Villain Academia and where
I
it's
mean,
gonna
there's
lead
also
up to.
Gang Orca, and he's a hero, even and like a whole party members as well too.
That is true. He's a whole damn whale.
Um, but I guess like it's the more different kind of mutation look, and people who were bullied when they were kids because they had that certain look, and they're not, and like they got laughed at and picked on, and even worse if they actually wanted to be heroes when they grow up, but then they just said, no, you're not gonna be a hero, you're gonna be whack, you're gonna be anything, that sort of stuff, and like, that leads to villainy. But
I'm curious to see
it
if
does
Spinner.
it does make a whole lot of sense too, because when it came to Dabi, he wanted to be a pro hero like his father. He wanted to be like Endeavor's protege hero kind of thing, but bad past, bad confliction, and he became a villain. I don't know if Toga wanted to be a kind of a hero, but she wanted to be a symbol kind of like person.
But that's the thing, because I think with Spinner, I think I think with Spinner, if he interacts with with what's his name that likes to drink blood and gets people paralyzed.
Sorry,
Who's the person that likes to taste people blood, but then he gets them
Stain.
paralyzed? Stain, thank you. So if Spinner meets Stain,
Technically, Stain what looked human in the beginning though.
no, but
He
I'm
was
saying
actually
no, but I'm saying that if Spinner gets to meet Stain during this last final arc, because I believe in the next 2 or 3 chapters, by chapter 345, 344 the latest, we will
Stain.
see the final arc starting. And if Stain meets with Spinner, Spinner will come back to understanding that he needs to stop all this or bring back Shigaraki into understanding that he's doing something wrong. Because I feel
I,
like,
I
because
feel like what
remember, Spinner joined the League of Villains originally because of Stain. So
now no, but his motivation changed where I'm
has
staying
changed.
because of
I'm curious.
Shigaraki.
if he'll come back to it.
I don't think so, because now like he's being famous, he's being looked as a messiah for the wrong reason. Even he doesn't like it. But unfortunately, the technology, the media, the media guy will never like let him back away from it. It's too late. You're the only person who can talk to everybody. You're the only person that can lead the writers, the other heteromorphosis, uh, humans, people, and lead the revolution. And remember, throughout the entire My Villain Academia, remember he was also driving the truck and the volume, the microphone, the speakers, and all that stuff like that. He did his part. He did his own famous part too. Um,
Yeah, because I agree with others. Like, especially since Stain went off and do his own thing after talking to All Might, he feels that he should have done at least one more thing before we never see Stain again within the manga. So, like, I feel like Stain has one more thing left to do, and
I
with
think he's
Spinner, he was
fine.
so
Remember, he
much.
said like once everything is fixed up and better repaired for a better new hero society, you could come after the hero killer stain with the new heroes that rise above this situation and problems. He's done. He's not helping the villains and he's not helping the heroes anymore. He was helping All Might just so that have the hero All Might to capture him and put him back into prison, that sort of thing. But like he
I,
doesn't care
I
anymore.
don't
He's just
know.
like, nah, I'm good.
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
gonna sit back and watch this happen, because
I'm on
he's
the board
the
that I just Stain coming back in some way, and it will connect to Spinner. I see it possibly happening down the line.
because Stain is the anti-hero, like the real anti-hero. In this situation, Spinner is now being looked as a full-on villain, infamy villain to the hero society, but also the heroes of the heteromorphous that got shunned by. It's just more of he's getting famous for the wrong reason, but now like you can't go back, you can't turn back of who you can't turn back time of what you did in your actions, and now you come to the point where yeah, you're going through this for the long run. There's no turning back for this.
Yeah,
This was Spinner's like no turn back. You ride or die. You're riding through the end.
right.
You ride
That's how
or
you say
die
that.
into this with us now. It is ride or
And
die though.
they say a comment for you. They say yes, Sam, but I also think it will make sense for Stain to understand how he was analyzed, like he analyzed All Might, and not like that. Like for
But
example,
here's the thing.
Deku analyzed All Might.
But the difference between Stain and All Might is that people encourage people to look to look at people for people to look at All Might as an inspiration, as to people to become in a better of this current of that current hero society. When it came to Stain, people villain the other side of the picture, where yeah, we see Stain as someone that we should become to rebel the rules, change up the hero society, where all of this, society's whack, is all his problems and all that other stuff. This is no longer like we already exposed that yeah, there was so many faults and wrongs with the human hero society, but now like, what's the rest of your take? You expose the truth. You technically destroyed the hero society of previous of what it is of what it was now, and now a need to be a rebuild, not causing more of destruction. Like, isn't it causing more of destruction is also like trampling any hope of any real changes from the hero side in itself. When it comes with, if you're gonna destroy all that, the entire world, it's all it's left is chaos and destruction and the whole chaosity of everybody in the quirk users and that sort of thing. And I do think he'll either die the hero killer or be in prison after, both helping the war effort. We'll see though. I think Stain did his part. Like,
I don't know. I feel like there's still something left for his character. There's still something left before we end with the series. Whenever that happens at the end of the year or beginning of next year. But I feel like there's still something left to happen for his character to bring to us, the audience, and for the cast and stuff.
exactly. Stain wanted change, not necessarily destruction and tyranny, like shaking off. Yeah,
Agree.
but change is already can happen with either whoever wins in either side. He could just sit back and wait to see like what kind of change will happen during this situation in time. It's literally being like, yeah, I did my part of the story. I've inspired enough. I've become a voice of the voiceless, of the bad parts of heroes, of what's wrong with hero society. I've been in prison. I still need to finish doing up my time, but I want to see the true heroes of the real hero societies to rise above and to really capture me and stuff. He can't really. Again, I see why he want to have Stain to help up the heroes even more somehow, so that because if he doesn't help, there's no more real true heroes to come and help arrest him and stop him, that sort of thing. But at the same time, if the heroes are not able to go through this challenge, able to come out on top of this fight, even though they are disadvantaged, they are the underdogs of this very moment, they wouldn't like what else can we call it? You can't really consider as pro hero if I were to help you, you know?
Uh, I agree with others. Like, it would be cool, especially with other characters we want to get to shine. Like, we have heard that there's a last final arc, there's a last final act. So we just have to see how it's going to come to fruition. Like I said, like I think the final act or arc is going to start in the next 2-3 chapters. Once we get into more of the other side stories of who became a hero, minus one, or see the last character that we need to see before we started. Like we might need to see a bit more of Shiraki and more other characters before we start. So my assumption in the next 2 or 3 chapters we will see when the final arc will happen and start away. So I'm good either way. Yep, right there. I have said it perfectly. So I feel like this was a beautiful, nice discussion of chapter 341 before we go on break. And we get the next chapter of My Hero on February 6th. Yeah, on February 6th. Because
Same
we'll be
time,
on break.
we'll come back with Kaiju number 8 and everything like that. And we'll also pause on Black Clover again during that same week, and then we'll be talking again the next following week. For
Yeah, so hopefully you guys are fine with this Black Clover coming back every 2 weeks, because we've been staggering with My Hero, and also gives us a break to talk about Undead Unluck, maybe add Sakamoto days, add other series that we could come and add when other series are on break, because I feel like it gives us the audience and ourselves more to talk about and have a discussion of other series of part of Shonen Jump. And I'm good, Sam, with not talking about Boruto or Super, because
Okay.
I saw next month Boruto and Super drops on a Sunday.
So February 20th.
Correct.
Okay.
So I'm fine
We'll
with
see. We'll see what happens during that time too.
yeah. But I will say I promise that we will talk about My Hero. Oh well, we will talk about My Hero always. I promise that we'll talk about Dragon Ball Super, manga, and Boruto the Naruto Next Generation next month for sure. So
I'm
definitely.
sure Ray wants to talk about, well, doesn't want to talk about Super, especially when it comes to this chapter. Because from his Twitter post, he says, "Yo, they did Vegeta really dirty
I
again."
haven't read the chapter yet, so that's why I couldn't give any discussion. But I will check out the chapter, see what's up, see what happens, and I give my quick thoughts. But everyone going to break. Yeah, I hate to see it. Stay healthy, everyone, and don't put Togashi. Definitely don't put Togashi, because he hasn't put out a new chapter in what 2-3 years now, if I remember correctly.
2 years plus, 2+
2
years.
years plus. But other than that, guys, like we further do, My Hero discussion chapter 341 has ended. Now, Sam, what was your favorite chapter of today's issue on Weekly Shonen Jump issue 8?
Uh, so I'm gonna have 3 classifications. One for like the longest running one. That's what I call the heavyweights.
Okay.
Uh, the second one is like towards the middle. So I'm gonna say between a good chapter 70 plus, 70 to like more than 70 chapters, I would say.
All right.
Because like if you have more than 70 chapters, you lasted more than a year, and now you're within like the other divisions and that sort of stuff. And then the Super Juniors, which is the new mangas that came out
That 20 and less is
recently. Yeah, I say less than 20. I didn't get axed just yet, so that's why I have 3 classifications.
all right. Tell us.
A big one. Um, I gotta give it to JJK because that's the final conclusion of that fight, and that was
Agreed.
very interesting. That was really good. Yes, guys, I know the My Hero people, the Toga lovers, it's gonna like start hating us. Be like, "You what are you talking about? Oh, Toga,
Like,
we didn't
oh
have
my
a
god, we got
freaking
Toga
Toga."
back. It's been a while, my god.
I know, and like the whole Sandman parade blood and all that. I
Yo, I'm
know,
just
but that's
biased.
potential stuff. That's gonna be potential stuff that we will see in the future. I get it. It's great, yes. we'll get that in towards the later. But JJK, we having this fight currently now, where people are discussing, yo, which was better, Yuji versus Higuruma or the Megumi versus Reggie fight, and then like it's just more information, strategy wise, the fight hand to hand combat. It's just, I love it more. JJK wins this one for me for this lineup ahead of Masho, which is cool, which is okay.
Oh, do you like
I read
Nash the
Masho.
most?
No, no,
No,
no,
saying
no. No, it's like JJK is ahead of Masho. It's also ahead of Undead Unluck. I love Undead Unluck chapter. Like it was a good one, and there's a lot of like good story, good give more
so.
potential what to theories on. But JJK is like all everything we
All right.
can we don't need to think about potential. It's all happening here at this moment, and we're concluding it right here in this
So,
fight.
what's your tier two then?
The middleweight, I would say, or
Isn't done because
for like
there's
let's call it like the whole intercontinental title or TNT title. You know, like
because
the
because there's
if
Undead
you want to
Unluck,
call it like that.
there's Undead Unluck, Sakamoto Days, Elusive Samurai, and there is there's one of and Masho. So those technically are your are and los Maguchan because those are the ones you read. So those are your
It is. Those are what I read.
so which are those are your winner of your
So
Intercontinental Champion?
I'm going to give it to Sakamoto Days for this one, even though it's literally the first chapter after the end, after technically a fight arc from their side already. Even though not too much has happened, it was Sakamoto fighting one of the Jaws assassins, and they were all former classmates, and we learning more about who was that hidden classmate that was also a top assassin, and also reveals like there was actually a third one within the group between Sakamoto, the annoying friend that he has, and some third person character that's in the silhouette that we don't know how he looks like and that sort of thing. But yeah, I would give Sakamoto Day its the welterweight title. I
All
would
right.
say the
What's
intercontinental
your
title,
tier three, which is
like Super
PPP, and the
Ayashiman, Doran, protect
yeah.
me as Shigemoru. So I read that too. People were wondering like how come the protect me Shugomaru was like a whole like how come this is only a web only? Oh, that's why it's a web only. Yeah, it's a lot of there's a lot of penis jokes in
I'm
that
about to say,
chapter.
Sam, just be upfront. Just say a lot of dick jokes out here. Just say it. Just be upfront
Like
because
there's so many like jokes into this, so many image of it, and they try to.
yeah,
You
when
actually have the
Sam
mangaka.
had sent me screenshots of it, and I was like questioning, like, wait, this is dead as a whole. The joke back in the day. Hey, do you have $1.50? You literally see the dick and the balls on the shoulder. Like you literally see it. I'm like, wow, okay, cool. This is just
It's a
wow.
$4.50. Like shit, it literally is. And you have a 9-year old boy literally talking about making all these jokes and that shit. Like, yo, what the fuck is this? Um, Ayashiman, I read it. It is very interesting to know of how how boss the sister is in her new form, and Duran have its whole like the main character's toughest one of his traumatic moments come to be into this chapter. I this one is like a little bit harder because they weren't all as great to me. I feel like if I read PPPPP, it would have been um, it looks really interesting from all its panels and looks really good. I
The
haven't
art's fantastic from what from what I've been looking at. The art
it
like
really does. It really does. I haven't read Blue Box, and that's still continuing. After it's already almost at chapter 40. You know, sports manga has its own edges and has its own inspiration and hope, and it's also a romance.
and plus Sam, that's the only sports manga going on right now, so it needs to survive because that's literally the only
it's
sports one. So
it's the only survival it has left. um,
it's like literally the only one that's pushing there. So hey, that's something.
so if I'm only having these three to choose, it's really hard because I probably give it to the dick jokes. I'm sorry. I probably
Why?
give
Yeah, just say it like that. Just call it the protect me instead of call the dick jokes.
it.
Woo!
It
Wow.
was
Okay.
just like literally the whole mangaka said like, "Yo, I'm sorry," in her comic box. It's like all this inappropriate stuff. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. It's just
Hey,
yeah,
he tried. Oh wow. Um, Haikyuu fans need that Pac-Man. Uh, I miss Haikyuu. I haven't finished the series, but I watched up to season three. I still need to finish season 3 and 4. But hey, season 5 is coming up soon. I'm hearing the rumors to wrap up the last arc of Haikyuu. Beautiful series, and I agree with what you said. I saw something that if you read that mid Robocall, definitely ill because I don't know how to say Robocall. How many chapters is that? Where is it? Where is it? Where is
a
it?
lot. 73. Technically, it's in the welterweight. It passed the year mark.
Oh wow. Damn, wow. Robocall. Wow. There's so many questions. So many fucking questions. Whew. Anyway, I definitely need to catch up to some series. I've been slacking. I plan to I keep telling myself that, but I plan to do it this week. Definitely plan to read Ayashima Dodoro Don, whatever how you pronounce it, and the other one that comes on Monday.
Dorado. Yep.
Dun 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 dun. And I'll check out the 6 piece.
Oh
I
yeah, I
will
got dun, 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 dun.
I would
Tattoo.
definitely try the 6 piece. It is definitely fun for sure. I don't know about Ayakichi Triangle. I know it's still there, it's still surviving.
It's
But
also
if you
web
don't,
only too.
web only too. But if you don't, anybody in the chat, anybody in the podcast, go read Mission Yozakura Family. Go check it out. Have fun. Have a good time. But for my chapter of the week, since I haven't read much and I'm a bit behind, is JJK. Such a great chapter. As much as I love Toga, as much as I love the fan art, and as much as I love the Route 34 of Toga and everything else around there, JJK was definitely the better chapter when it involves
It was.
around the storytelling and the lore of the curse techniques and the curse power of these characters. And our boy
It was everything
Megumi.
that we needed and wanted to be during that time, and it executed perfectly. So I think that's the reason why it won.
So I definitely enjoyed JJK. So that's definitely my chapter of the week. Let us know what's your chapter of the week down below in the comment section of our YouTube. And if you listen to podcast audio, definitely go tweet us. Let us know what was your favorite chapter of the week. And I was definitely pleased. If you heard good things of Mission Yuzakura Family, it means we are right. It means you should go check it out. It's 114 chapters right now, but highly recommend it because it's such a good series. And it's a well series. If you enjoy Spy X Family, you will enjoy Mission Yuzakura Family a lot more. And if the boys want a nice, fun romance, Hakoda gals are a super adorable on Manga Plus. Okay, we will check that out and we'll look at your recommendation. So this is it about the podcast, the show of Shonen Ronin, episode 31. And this was our weekly Shonen jump issue coverage number 8 of this year. So hope you guys enjoy this. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget don't forget where to follow us. All those links are down below in the description. Social media,
Right there,
Patreon, where
next
support
to
us.
Undervash. The
We
line
will
right there.
be updating a lot of stuff within the coming weeks. Sam is going back to school, so we will do the best we can with content. Outside of that, because Sam will be a busy man, and me
Yes, I
going
will.
back to work in a full-time schedule. So we will see what we can do and be you guys in content. So hopefully you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys in the next one.
I'll pick up the show.